The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone present to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Monks Upamak Ka Fanu Arianyana Ujoti Pala from the Light of Dharma Buddhist Association of Elmhurst, New York, will say today's invocation.
Now we are chanting, all of us.
Karaniya Madha Kutalena Yanda Dandam Param Vitamisa Teko Uzusa Tuzusa Tuaso Sata Murunadi Mani Tando Tagosa Tubarosa Abakesosa Tanauka Odi Tandendriosa Nibagosa Abagabo Kuledwa Nanugaido Nasa Goda Madre Gainsi Yena Winyu Bare Ubaware Yong Tukino Wa Kemino Hondu Tavadada Bundu Dada Yegesi Bana Budadi Dadawa Tarawa Nawa Deda Tigawai Wa Manda Mizima Rataga Nuga Tula Data wa yewa data yewa dure wadandi awi dure Buddha wa tamoe diwa Tavadada bondu tugi dada Nabro praniko beta Naribimina kadasina gensi Yarotana priga tinya Ninya minya nyata meseya Matayata Niyam Buddha, Mayuta Eka Buddha Manureke, Evom Vitava Buddhetu, Manadam Bawaye Arimana, Midin Satavaloka Tame, Manadam Bawaye Arimana, Oda Dosa Dirinsa, Atambara Awirama Tabadan, Dedan Sarani de Noa. Teyano Yawadata Vidamedo Edan Deya Yama Medan Viara Mira Mahu Dedin Sanubagama Tilawa Datlena Tambano Kamedu Vinia Vedan Naiza Do Gavateya Punaredi Tadu Tadu Tadu. Thank you, Senator Jessica Ramos, for this honor. Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, we hope you will do right by your communities for the greater good of humanity. We pray for loving kindness and peace for all of you. Thank you.
Reading of the journal.
In Senate, Tuesday, May 30th, 2023, Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The journal of Monday, May 29th, 2023 was read and approved. On motion, the Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the journal stands approved as read. Presentation of petitions. Messages from the Assembly. Secretary will read.
Senator Mannion moves to discharge from the Committee on Housing, Construction, and Community Development Assembly Bill number 1686A. Is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 3139A, third reading count of 370. Senator May moves to discharge from the Committee on Housing, Construction, and Community Development Assembly Bill number 3110. Is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 3497, third reading count of 491. Senator Hoyerman Siegel moves to discharge from Committee on Judiciary. Assembly Bill number 5772 is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 5162, third reading count of 504. Senator Jackson moves to discharge from the Committee on Civil Service and Pensions, Assembly Bill number 6856, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 5487, third reading count 607. Senator Liu moves to discharge from the Committee on Cities, Assembly Bill number 4972A, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 3252A, third reading calendar 845. Senator Rivera moves to discharge from the Committee on Health, Assembly Bill number 6017, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 3449, third reading calendar 849. Senator Claire moves to discharge from the Committee on Transportation, Assembly Bill number 3720, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 5527, third reading calendar 1009. Senator Sanders moves to discharge from the Committee on Banks, Assembly Bill number 5516, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 6270, third reading calendar 1014. Senator Ramos moves to discharge from the Committee on Labor, Assembly Bill number 5609, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 6096, third reading calendar 1063. Senator Rollison moves to discharge from the Committee on Investigation and Government Operations, Assembly Bill number 6751, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 6316, third reading calendar 1113. Senator Webb moves to discharge from the Committee on Codes, Assembly Bill number 4265, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 6214, third reading calendar 1174. Senator Brooke moves to discharge from the Committee on Disabilities, Assembly Bill number 5697, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 4521, third reading calendar 1202. Senator Helming moves to discharge from the Committee on Corporations, Authorities, and Commissions, Assembly Bill number 4092, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 4037, third reading calendar 1234. Senator Breslin moves to discharge from the Committee on Judiciary, Assembly Bill number 1753A, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 3542A, third reading calendar 1242. Senator Jackson moves to discharge from the Committee on Finance, Assembly Bill number 5208, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 5027, third reading calendar 1279. Senator Gonzalez moves to discharge from the Committee on Judiciary, Assembly Bill number 4721, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 5137, third reading calendar 1280. Senator Jackson moves to discharge from the Committee on Civil Service and Pensions, Assembly Bill number 7155, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 5494, third reading calendar 1314. Senator Jackson moves to discharge from the Committee on Civil Service and Pensions, Assembly Bill number 7157, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 6477, third reading calendar 1315. Senator Mannion moves to discharge from the Committee on, Civil Service and Pensions, Assembly Bill number 6480, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 6482A, third reading calendar 1316. Senator Scarcella Spanton moves to discharge from the Committee on Cultural Affairs, Tourism, Parks, and Recreation, Assembly Bill number 5948, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 6124, third reading calendar 1324. Senator Skoufis moves to discharge from the Committee on Health, Assembly Bill number 5821A, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 6467A, third reading calendar 1328. Senator May moves to discharge from the Committee on Energy and Telecommunications, Assembly Bill number 3164, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 3533, third reading calendar 1348. Senator Henchy moves to discharge from the Committee on Agriculture, Assembly Bill number 2935, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 5526, third reading calendar 1353. Senator Henchy moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules, Assembly Bill number 7430, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 7354, third reading calendar 1419. Senator Breslin moves to discharge from the Committee on Finance, Assembly Bill number 6164, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 3612, third reading calendar 1184. Senator Chu moves to discharge from the Committee on Libraries, Assembly Bill 6807, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 5986A, third reading calendar 1212. Senator Sepulveda moves to discharge from the Committee on Judiciary, Assembly Bill number 7112, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 5835, third reading calendar 794. Senator Breslin moves to discharge from the Committee on Insurance, Assembly Bill number 7291, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 7103, third reading calendar 1191.
So ordered. Messages from the Governor, reports of standing committees, report of select committees, motions and resolutions. Sorry. Communications and reports from state officers, motions and resolutions. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. Amendments are offered on the following third reading calendar bills by Senator Webb, calendar 1188, Senator Mannion, calendar number 861, Senator Ryan, calendar number 1335. Madam President, I now move that these bills retain their place on order of third reading.
The amendments are received and bill will retain its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. By unanimous consent, I wish to call up the following bills, which were recalled from the Assembly and are now at the desk. Bill numbers 4041, 6410, 1535, 1683, and 2330.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 406, Senate Print 4041 by Senator Mayer, an act to amend the education law. Calendar number 1064, Senate Print 6410 by Senator Ramos, an act to amend the insurance law. Calendar number 633, Senate Print 1535 by Senator Hoyman Siegel, an act to amend the executive law. Calendar number 686, Senate Print 1683 by Senator Hinchey, an act to amend the public health law. Calendar number 346, Senate Print 2330 by Senator Mayer, an act to amend the insurance law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell, Cousins, White, ayes 57.
The bill to restore its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. I offer the following amendments to the aforementioned bills.
The amendments are received and bill will retain its place on the third reading calendar.
Thank you. Can you recognize Senator Lanza?
Senator Lanza.
Madam President, on behalf of Senator Rhodes, I wish to call up Bill Print Number 5850, recalled from the Assembly, which is now at the desk.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 804, Senate Print 5850 by Senator Rhodes, an act authorizing the Seaford Fire District to receive retroactive real property tax exempt status.
Madam President, I now move to reconsider the vote by which the bill was passed.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell, Cousins, White, ayes 57.
The bill is restored to its place on the third reading calendar.
Madam President, I now offer the following amendments.
The amendments are received and the bill to retain its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Lanza.
Yes, now, Madam President, on behalf of Senator Rhodes, on page 61, I offer the following amendments to calendar 1299, print number 6858, and ask that said bill retain its place on third reading calendar.
Amendments are received and the bill will retain its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Lanza.
Madam President, on behalf of Senator Borrello, I wish to call up Bill Print Number 6205, recalled from the Assembly, which is now at the desk.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 938, Senate Print 6205 by Senator Borrello, an act to amend Chapter 405 of the laws of 2007.
Madam President, I now move to reconsider the vote by which the bill was passed.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell, Cousins, White, ayes 57.
The bill is restored to its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Lanza.
On behalf of Senator Borrello, Madam President, I move to recommit Senate Print Number 6205, calendar number 938, on the order of third reading to the Committee on Investigations and Government Operations, with instructions to said committee to strike out the enacting clause.
So ordered.
Thank you, Madam President.
Senator Serrano.
Could we please call on Senator Sanders for an introduction?
Senator Sanders for an introduction.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I would like to draw the Senate's attention to 5 dignitaries who are joining us today, of which I will name but 2. The first, of course, is former member of the Assembly, Arabella Simotis, who is here, and she is here with the Ms. Jay Coffey, who is the Bank of New York Mellon, who is here to celebrate Founders Day. Now, everyone in here, of course, has a connection to the Bank of New York Mellon. You all have seen the show Hamilton or have heard of it, Hamilton. Well, I'm here to tell you that on June the 9th, 1784, Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of the Treasury, established the firm's predecessor, the Bank of New York. The Bank of New York Mellon is America's oldest bank and the first company listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Ms. Jay Coffey is the global head of enterprise execution and the chief corporate affairs officer. She is a member of the Bank of New York Mellon's executive committee. She oversees the execution of significant enterprise priorities and provides leadership over the firm's corporate affairs. I want to thank all of them for coming, and I thank you, Madam President, for the introduction, if you would be so kind. Thank you very much.
To our guests, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. Senator Serrano.
Thank you. Madam President, I move to adopt the resolution calendar with the exception of Resolution 1123.
All those in favor of adopting the resolution calendar with the exception of Resolution 1123, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution calendar is adopted. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. I now ask that Resolution 1123 by Senator Fernandez be read title only and call on Senator Fernandez.
The Secretary will read.
Senate Resolution 1123 by Senator Fernandez, commemorating the 15th anniversary of Community Life's Life is Precious program.
Senator Fernandez on the resolution.
Thank you so much, Madam President. With this resolution, we celebrate 15 years of Community Life's Life is Precious program. The resolution recognizes the incredible work of an organization that has dedicated its life to improving the lives of our fellow young citizens, particularly our Latina teenagers facing the challenges of mental health and suicide. At the forefront of this remarkable initiative is the visionary leader, Dr. Rosa Gil. Dr. Gil, the founder, president, and CEO of Community Life, has been a driving force behind the Life is Precious program. Her unwavering commitment to and tireless efforts has provided a lifeline to countless young girls in New York City, helping them find hope, support, and a renewed sense of purpose. Dr. Gil's compassion and dedication have truly made a profound difference in the lives of these vulnerable teenagers. Please join me in welcoming her today. She is up in the gallery, Dr. Rosa Gil. Thank you for being here. The Life is Precious program has been instrumental in addressing the alarming rates of suicide among Latina teens, particularly those who are immigrants of first-generation Americans residing in low-income neighborhoods. Through their 4 program sites in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and Washington Heights, and now newly opened sites in Poughkeepsie and Yonkers, Life is Precious has extended its reach far and wide, offering a safe space for these young girls to receive vital support and guidance. One of the key pillars of the Life is Precious program is its philosophy of survive, strive, and thrive. This holistic approach encompasses academic support, wellness activities, expressive art therapy, and family services, empowering these teenagers to overcome adversity, develop their unique voices, and achieve their goals. The program has become a beacon of hope, providing a nurturing environment where these young girls can envision a brighter future for themselves. As we reflect on the immense impact of the Life is Precious program, it is crucial to acknowledge the broader scope of Community Life's work. Founded by Dr. Rosa Gil in 1989, Community Life has been a champion for vulnerable communities, providing culturally sensitive services to help individuals lead healthier and more meaningful lives. From addressing chronic homelessness, HIV and AIDS, and other major medical issues to tackling serious mental illnesses and substance use disorders. Community Life has consistently gone above and beyond to meet the diverse needs of New Yorkers. In 2022 alone, Community Life served over 3,000 low-income and vulnerable individuals, a significant portion of whom were African American and Spanish-speaking. Through their comprehensive programs and unwavering support, Community Life has exemplified excellence in community service, enhancing the well-being and vitality of countless New Yorkers. Therefore, today, I stand in full support of this resolution, and I'm so happy to know that 15 years later, we are continuing to make such an impactful difference and saving lives. The resolution serves as a testament to the remarkable impact Dr. Rosa Gil has dedicated and her dedicated team have had on our communities. It is a call to action, urging us to recognize their achievements and express our sincere gratitude for the transformative work they continue to do. Let us all join together in commemorating 15 years of Community Life and also welcoming my good friend, Dr. Rosa Gil, to the Senate chambers today while we look forward to another 15, 20, 30, 50 years of saving lives. Thank you so much.
Senator Sepulveda on the resolution.
Do you want to speak?
Thank you, Madam President, for allowing me to speak on this resolution. My colleague, Senator Fernandez, has spoken about Community Life and the great work that it's done over the years in New York State. For those of you who don't know, one of the number one causes, or the number one cause of death amongst young women 11 and 19 is suicide. Suicide ideation is also very prevalent amongst this age group. And Dr. Rosa Gil is a giant amongst the issue of mental health and suicide. Over the last 15 years, and even before that, she has helped thousands of people She has transformed lives. She has transformed communities with the work that she has done. And I can tell you a personal experience of mine. Many of you know that my mother committed suicide when I was 11 years old. And I've spoken about that experience. But for about 40 years, I never spoke about my mother's suicide. And a few years ago, I met Dr. Gill. And within 20 minutes, she opened up the floodgates to me to talk about the experience that I had and some of the pain that you feel when your mother takes her life at such a young age. So her record, her humanity speaks for itself. What this world needs is 100,000 Dr. Gills to make our world better, to help our young women, to help young women who are having difficulties in their lives and think that suicide may be the only option. She has changed so many lives. She has changed the trajectory of so many people, so many young women in our community that a resolution doesn't really do her the honor that she deserves. She deserves much more, and so I am extremely proud to vote aye on this resolution and recognize a giant amongst all of us, Dr. Rosa Gill. Thank you.
To our guests, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. Senator Serrano. Sorry. Question is on the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution is adopted. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, let's take up previously adopted Resolution 1065 by Senator Myrie. Read the resolution title only and call on Senator Myrie.
Secretary will read.
Senate Resolution 1065 by Senator Myrie, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim October 9, 2023 as Sneakers Day in the state of New York.
Senator Myrie on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. Today's a good day. It's a fun day because we deal with a lot of heavy things in this legislature. We have a lot of heavy discussions about very important policy issues. But today is about the heat on your feet. Today's about expressing your personality. Today is about your comfort. Today is about functionality. It's whatever you want it to be, but it's your shoe, your sneaker, and it becomes something different when you step into it, to borrow a phrase. I remember the first time I asked my mom for a pair of Jordans, Madam President, and my mom laughed me out of the room and said, "You can get as many sneakers as you want as soon as you get a job." So my very first job, my very first paycheck, I got a pair of Jordans. And my love for sneakers has continued since I was a teenager at that time. But it's also about representation. I have had people in my community come up to me and say, "I have never in my life seen a politician wear sneakers before." And for the young men in my community that look like me, it has taken on added significance because they see themselves in us. And that's just my story, but everyone else has a different story. I've talked to staff members in this building today who are so relieved and excited to have permission to wear sneakers to work. Everybody has their own story about it. But what's beautiful about today is that everyone can partake. So I may disagree with Senator Lanza on some pretty important things, but I can recognize that he has some Yeezys on today and that he's top tier when it comes to having sneakers. We have individuals that help us keep this building running every single day, who at times feel like they can't talk to us. But in the lead up to today, I've had people show me the sneakers that they plan to wear on Sneaker Day. That connection, something that we can all share, is something I think we should remember when we do have our disagreements, when we are having passionate conversations about very important things. let us remember how lighthearted and how universal sneakers can be and what they have been for today. So, Madam President, I will be voting proudly in the affirmative for Sneaker Day, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
Senator Bailey on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I want to give credit to my brother-in-arms, my brother in sneakers, sneaker exclusive, Senator Myrie. I want to thank you for coming up with the concept, and as a fellow sneakerhead, I'm excited about today because it's not just about the sneaker. It is about the culture that comes with sneakers. And sometimes in life, we bond as people over music, we bond over food, we bond over sports, and today we bond over sneakers. When I was growing up, much like Senator Myrie, I was laughed out of a couple of rooms when I would ask for Jordans, and I was asked, did they also pay for the Con Ed bill? The answer was no. But one day my dad came home with a pair of Jordan 3s. And like Common Sense said in his song, I Used to Love Her, I met this girl when I was 10 years old, and what I love so much about her, she has so much soul, not just S-O-U-L, S-O-L-E. That's when I fell in love with sneakers. Not just the color, but the composition, the material, the differences between each sneaker. See, we didn't have a car growing up, Madam President. So my sneakers were my Cadillac. Many people that I grew up with, we used the MTA. And that bus was our limousine, but on our feet were our Mercedes-Benzes and our BMWs and our Ferraris, and things that we wouldn't be able to see. We saw them on our feet. And it created an ability to bond with each other. Like Nike's famous sneaker, the Air Force One, they are called Uptowns, folks. Just want to make sure we are very clear. And with that, we're very clear that the leader is wearing a pair of Uptowns today. And I want to thank her for not just participating in Sneaker Day, but permitting us to be able to have such a day. And like, I'm just thinking about like growing up and listening to people, my uncles with my Adidas and the K-Swiss and the Clyde Pumas and the LA Gears with the light ups. I used to beg my moms for those sneakers too. Even like I look back, they're pretty whack. But there was something about just sneaker culture, how ingrained it was with hip hop. And you've heard me wax poetic or sometimes not so poetic about my love for hip hop. There is a significant cultural intertwining between sneakers and hip hop culture. Like Patrick Ewing, famous New York Knicks center, had a pair of sneakers that were incredibly popular, the Ewings, Reebok Classics, 5411 size 7 in girls. They used to be $49.99. And in New York City, with the tax, they used to come out to $54.11. These are things that you remember growing up, right? Shell toe Adidas, the Stan Smiths, Chuck Taylors, the Converse with the React Juice, the Nikes. I've always been a big fan of Nikes. Maybe it's because I'm a sucker for marketing, Madam President, I don't know. But it's a level of comfort that their shoes brought. Right now, I'm wearing a pair of Air Max 90s to commemorate Puerto Rican Parade Day. But there are so many different sneakers. I can't name a favorite of mine. But if you push me a little bit, I could tell you top 5. I'm gonna go with the Air Max 95s, the green and grays. We're gonna go with the Jordan 1s in any color you want, Madam President. You're gonna go with the Air Max 90s right here. You're gonna go with the foam posits. I used to be a foam posit guy. They used to be called space shoes, but they were incredibly comfortable. And the 5th would be the Nike Dunk, high or low, your choice. So I just want everybody to think about the significance of what sneakers mean to you. You might remember your first pair, you might not. But there's something that can unite us. And I want us to remember this day like Senator Myrie said. Remember the comfort, remember the relief from your back pain that you have walking on these marble floors with these wonderful sneakers. And Madam President, I got 99 problems, but my kicks ain't one.
Senator Rollison on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. And, as I think most of you know, my dad served in this chamber from 1966 to 1990. I dare say that during that time, there was probably not a pair of sneakers worn in here. And here we've come to having an actual sneaker day here in the state capitol. And I want to thank my colleagues, Senator Bailey and Senator Myrie, who, put a little subtle pressure on me, because I see them quite often in the hallway. What was I going to do? How was I going to rise up to try to do the right thing? And I had said to Senator Bailey, I said, well, I love this pair of sneakers that I used to wear in college and when I was first on the job, and they were white and they had a red stripe. Well, that's Cortez, right? Boom, he knew it just like that. So I only had one pair of sneakers because I only use them when I'm out in the morning with the dog in the early evening. So this forced me to go to DSW. And I went the other day, and as you're living in that world, and obviously I'm not, but now I am rocking a new pair of Adidas with cloud foam on the bottom. I sliding across that concourse today. Felt good, felt really good. But going there and getting really engrossed in all of the sneakers, it was a tough choice. And I settled on these because I wanted to do blue because I know they would go with other outfits down the road. And while I was there, I bought a pair of Florsheim, kind of the dress sneaker, which I will wear next week. Because I'm one of these guys, it always takes a little longer than others to get there, right? To do the dress down thing. I'm a big loafer guy. And tomorrow I'll have the loafers back on. I even brought them with me in a shoe bag just in case these didn't work out today. So they're in the car down in the parking garage. But again, to what both of you said, this is a way, to kind of just get together, feel good. Same thing with the staff, wanting to talk about it. Nick Eastman, our session assistant, he's rocking out a pair of sneakers today that I know you were talking to him about as well too. So I just want to thank you. And I, Madam President, I know I've gone on way too long, but I wanted to just say I proudly vote aye on this resolution today. Thank you.
Senator Lanza on the resolution.
Madam President, I rise to support the resolution. I thank Senator Myrie for bringing it to the floor. I think it's pretty clear here, Senator Rollison's hooked. You've converted him. I'm going to check his registration card tomorrow. Just to make sure it ends here. At sneakers. Madam President, you wear something long enough, there's a chance it might become fashionable. As some of you know, I've been wearing sneakers around here for, about 12 or 13 years. I used to get a lot of funny faces. Sometimes it was about the sneakers. But it was not. Still get a lot of funny faces. It's definitely not about the sneakers. But it wasn't, I didn't receive any sort of acceptance until Senators Myrie and Senators Bailey arrived to the New York State Senate. And this is something that we've shared for quite a while now. And as Senator Myrie said, it is more about sneakers or clothes. It's about the things that truly do unite us. Yes, the politics unites us and sometimes divides us, and that's okay. But it's the human things, the sneakers, the clothes, the food, the culture, the family, the neighborhoods, the sports teams, all those things. And there are lots of them that unite us, and this is one of them. So certainly, Senators Myrie, Bailey, and myself may not be birds of the same political feather, but the mighty sneaker means that we certainly flock together. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy the friendship, and I enjoy the fact that you now extend that friendship to everyone here and around the state. Senator Myrie, when you talked about Jordans, I am, Madam President, you might know, considerably older than both Senator Myrie and Bailey. And so for me, that question was not about Jordans. When I was, I think, in the 8th grade or maybe a freshman in high school, up until then, sneakers were all the same. You had Converse, you had Keds, you had Flyers. They were all canvas. They were white or they were black. I think my sneakers came from a basket in the supermarket most often. And I'm not complaining or anything, I was very lucky. But I knew I needed new sneakers when, if it was raining outside, I would feel the water come through the hole in the sole of my sneaker and get to my sock. So I remember a kid came into class one day and he had these things. They looked like they were from Mars. And they weren't canvas, they were actually suede. And they had this stripe that came up. And we were all just marveling at what they were. And they were Pumas. They were the first sort of kind of boutique type sneaker. And then quickly thereafter, Adidas came out with the Clydes. And I went home, just like Senator Myrie, and I sheepishly said, hey, Mom, you think I can get one of these pairs of sneakers? They're called Pumas. And she said, sure, honey. Where do you get them? I said, I think they're $30. She said, you better talk to your dad. And so I gathered the courage and I asked my father if I could have these $30 sneakers a long time ago. I will never, I still have, thank God, my father, 88 years old, I will never forget the look on his face. I didn't get those sneakers. Until about a year later, somehow my mother figured out a way. And when I did, that started a long love affair with sneakers. And my sneakers may have come out of the basket of the supermarket. Now you get them in a boutique on Fifth Avenue. I mean, it's crazy how the sneakers evolved, and it's made it officially to the New York State Senate. I think it's a good thing. It's okay. And to Senator Bailey's point, my youngest son is just turned 19, and we were talking about sneakers and Yeezys and all these things. And you know, both my daughters played sports, soccer, basketball, my son basketball, baseball, and it is neat when you show up at the field after an event, you have a suit on, and you got the sneakers, and the kids surround you, and it's just great, and I love it. I really do love it. So I was telling him that he was talking about Jordans, and I told him, you know, I had one of the first Jordans. I had my first job, I was working in Manhattan, and I picked up these new things called Jordans. And he said, come on, Dad, what'd you do with them? I said, I think they're in Grandpa's house right now. I never saw him move so quickly. And he went over there, and he brought them home, and to him, he had discovered gold, and they're sneakers. And that's pretty cool, and I thank Senator Myrie. Madam President, I support this resolution.
Senator Tedesco on the resolution.
Well, I can go back, Madam President, and my colleagues a little bit farther back than my colleague, Senator Lanza. But I want to thank Senator Myrie and Senator Bailey for releasing us to allow us to put on these sneakers to be comfortable. I hadn't put them on for a long time, and I hadn't thought about the importance and significance of these sneakers. When you think about it, there would be no LeBron James. There would be no Kobe Bryant. There would be no NBA championship game tomorrow that we could watch and enjoy the excellence of those players if at some point they didn't have these sneakers to wear. And they're an unbelievable tool when you think about it. I saw the good Senator Kruger in the back room there. She's so deft on her feet when she's debating and everything. So I said to her, where are your sneakers? I said, you'd be a great scoring and shooting guard. So she's going to think about it, and maybe she'll get herself a pair, because you'd be surprised how good it feels to put your feet in the sneakers. But when you talk about the evolution, I think I go back just about farther than most people in this room. I started off with PF Flyers, and my whole life, sneakers were the most important thing I ever had in my life, most important tool. I wouldn't have got to college without sneakers. I wouldn't have got to college if I went out every single day and played 8 or 10 hours on a court to practice what I did and get a scholarship. so I could play and get a degree from Union College and then go on to St. Rose, get a master's degree, then become a person who had, I say tongue-in-cheek, a real job. I was an educator for 10 years, and I coached for 10 years. But it was the most important part of my life to have those sneakers. Basketball was everything to me. Now, you're looking at me and saying, Tedisco's 5'7.5". How is basketball everything to him? Well, I was 6'10" when I got to the legislature. Should have seen me walking down the hall, tall. And, of course, I've been in the minority for 40 years. And then I got to the promised land for 2 years, and then you took it away from me. Like Al Pacino said that. Was it him who said that? But it was PF Flyers, and just like Senator Lanza, I'd wear those things out. There were big holes. And when I'd go to my dad and say, I need another pair of PF Flyers, he'd come out with a beautiful piece of cardboard cut like this, and he'd put them in my sneakers. And I could go with them for another couple, 2 or 3 months, and finally he'd relent and buy me another pair. Then Keds, I bought. And then the last high school all-star game I played, and I showed it to Senator Bailey. I got a picture of it right here if anybody wants to see it. I was playing in an all-star game at the La Salette Seminary down in Altamont here. It was state of New York, Vermont, I told Senator Breslin today, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. All the all-stars. Who represents Roosevelt High School in here? Roosevelt High School. Somebody's got to be a senator from Roosevelt High School. Yeah, it must be. Who? Senator Thomas, okay. The most important man in history from that school is a man I played with in 1968 in the All-Star game. He scored 30,000 votes as an NBA and ABA player. He's only one of 3 players that did that. And this is the picture of him. With me standing next to him. You probably can't see it. If you want to see it, he's in the corner. His name is Dr. J, Julius Erving. We had the opportunity to play in an all-star game together. Now, I played with some of you guys maybe in this room and early on in the assembly, but the greatest honor I ever had was to play with Julius Erving in an all-star game, and probably never passed him the ball when I played with him. And he probably will remember me for that, because I took more shots than he probably did. But in that game, we were wearing canvas all-stars. You remember those? And when I asked my dad, that became the top of the line when I was in high school, and then I went on to play at Union College. And I think they were $5 when I asked him to buy it. And he worked in the foundry at the General Electric his entire life. And like Senator Lanza's father, when I said $5, smoke started coming out of his head. He goes, you want to come down the foundry and work for me to earn that $5? No, I don't want to go there. But my entire life, I never really thought about it that night. I thought about the ball I played with, the uniforms, but sneakers are the key. If you have the sneakers, you can get out there and play. If you have the sneakers, you can build relationships, built tremendous relationships, playing out on courts, in the playgrounds, in the college. We have a reunion every 5 years from my college, from my team. We're the best win-loss record in the history of Union College. It's a college that's 300 years old. Any of you remember Mike Doyle? He was a lobbyist here. We used to call him Big Oil Doyle. He was for the oil company. He played with me. He died a couple years ago. Tremendous rebounder. A great asset to me as being a part of my left. And 11 out of 12 players came back to that last reunion 5 years ago, over 50 years. All of our coaches. And my coach, I'll close by telling you this, was Gary Walters, who played with Bill Bradley at Princeton. He came from Middlebury to coach us at Union College. And then he became the athletic director at Princeton. And later on, Bill Carmody, who played with me at Union, was the coach at Princeton, and he was a coach of the year one year. So sneakers are important only for what we do here and the relationships we have, and we don't have enough camaraderie. You know, I'm a pretty tough debater sometimes. When I go after some people, I understand that because I'm like you. I love the job I do. I love the people I represent. I want to stand up for them. I want this to be the greatest state in the nation. And but it's good to have this type of camaraderie, and I thank you for helping to build that. And let us understand something that we don't think about that much can bring people together from both sides of the aisle from a lot of different opinions. So I thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to say a few words.
Senator Borrello on the resolution.
Thank you so much, Madam President. First of all, I want to thank the sponsors. And, I think some of you know me well enough to know that I have a shoe problem, like a shoe problem that will make Imelda Marcos blush. So trying to choose some shoes was difficult for today for me. And I actually had to have a conference with both Senator Myrie and Senator Bailey to ask what the parameters were here. Can you wear those like the ones that are like dress shoes on top and sneakers on the bottom? And they said, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. And it's been great to see all the shoes. And Senator Comrie, have you seen Senator Comrie's shoes? Those are fantastic, classic. So, we've got a big few days ahead of us. We're going to go through 100-plus bills a day. It's going to be stressful. I just want to thank both of you for making this a fun day for all of us here. Very appreciated. My chosen pair was my Allen Edmonds, which are a great brand, an American brand, as a matter of fact. And this has been so much fun. And Madam President, I proudly vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Claire on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to get up as one of the women and say how much I appreciate you doing this today, because sneakers, for me, the evolution told another story. It told a story, an additional story, about a culture, an urban culture, an inner city culture, kids, hip hop. And we made sneakers popular. We made them step up their game, and sneakers became something different. I grew up with Pro-Keds and Converse too, but I never really looked at sneakers as something growing up that I wanted to wear necessarily. But when they started making all these wonderful sneakers, they started making them for women. At one time there was just one kind of sneakers. And I have to believe that encouraged some young women to become athletic, to participate in sports, to feel comfortable, because you could be cute and sporty. And I just look at that and I think it's wonderful. I also look at all the financial opportunities that sneakers brought to people who weren't necessarily getting paid good money to play ball and play other sports, but people like Jordan, LeBron, Patrick, so many people who brought sneakers out and made financial opportunities. And I'm just really proud of that culture. I'm proud of that hip hop culture that brought that. And of course, as you mentioned earlier, Senator Bailey, we got a sneaker called the Uptowns. And there's a reason for that. We made the Uptowns popular, and everybody wanted to be uptown. So you find sneakers named in so many rap songs. I can't even count all of my Adidas that I have on today, and all the other sneakers. I just think it's really good. And Senator Myrie, you said something very important. Young people relate. People in the community relate to sneakers, and when they see you in sneakers, they see themselves. So I think it's something that brings them into the process and makes them feel comfortable as well. So there's more comfort in sneakers than just what's on your feet. There's comfort from our young people, from our communities, and I'm very proud to know that my community of Harlem and El Barrio and the Bronx helped make sneakers popular. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Canzoneri Fitzpatrick on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, I have to join Senator Clear as the representative of the women in the chamber. I want to thank both the sponsors. Senator Myrie, you and I have from the very beginning enjoyed a lovely interaction. And just the other day we talked about my sparkly jacket that you noticed. And this just adds to it that sneakers are part of who we are. I typically am a very formal person, and I've got my pearls on with my sneakers, like Madam President, and it's a wonderful statement. It's a wonderful sense that you have now extended to everybody, and as Senator Lanza said, it's about the friendship that we enjoy here today. And sneakers, yes, have come so far. Who'd have thought that we would have a movie about Air Jordans, right? And an entire movie about a sneaker. So thank you so much for bringing this today. I proudly vote aye.
The resolution was previously adopted on 5/23. And we're all wearing our sneakers today. I have on my sneakers, just like Senator Myrie and Senator Bailey pushed me into getting it. Just letting everyone know. Senator Serrano.
Thank you. Madam President, could we please take up previous adopted Resolution 830 by Senator Kruger? Please read that resolution title only and call on Senator Kruger.
Secretary will read.
Senate Resolution 830 by Senator Kruger, commemorating the 25th anniversary of the Postpartum Resource Center of New York.
Senator Kruger on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. It seems unfair I'm going after sneakers. But I do want to just add my voice to pointing out I've been here 21 years. I've only learned in the last week and a half my Republican colleagues are actually funny. But less funny, I want to stand to honor a woman I have known for multiple years now, Sonia Murdoch, who is one of the two founders of the Postpartum Resource Center, which for 25 years has served as a not-for-profit organization, even when they had barely a dime to their name and were operating out of a kitchen table, trying to make sure that the women and men in this state understood that depression during pregnancy and after pregnancy is a very serious, very real medical issue with real solutions when women are diagnosed and get the treatment they need. And now today in 2023, more of us know about this. The healthcare field and providers are more knowledgeable. We have passed laws here in the Senate I'm very proud of having been involved in that ensure that women are reviewed and diagnosed early. But it goes back, I believe, to what was being said earlier about Dr. Rosa Gill. There are women and men in our communities who take it upon themselves to change the world, to save lives, to save women from suicide and lives of misery, who ensure that young children actually can bond successfully with their mothers in their first year of life, which is crucial to them for the rest of their lives. And like many people, Sonia Murdoch's path in this direction grew out of tragedy in her own family because a family member did not get the care she needed. And so I invited Sonia up today, knowing we would be doing this resolution, to honor her and also to honor Emily Sapino, who worked with her to start this organization, and to just recognize that they continue 25 years later now to provide a statewide helpline that people from every one of our districts call to learn about what is going on in their own lives or their family members' lives and what can be done about it. And she sincerely, and this organization sincerely, have been responsible for saving endless, countless lives of women and young children. And I'd argue countless marriages also when people don't understand what's going on with their loved ones. So I would love for you to recognize Sonia Murdoch and for us to thank her and her organization for the amazing work they've been doing for 25 years and to hope they will continue it for another 25 years. Thank you, Madam President.
To our guests, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. The resolution was adopted on May 2nd. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. Let's please take a previously adopted resolution 991 by Senator Hinchey. Read that resolution title only and call on Senator Hinchey.
The Secretary will read.
Senate Resolution 991 by Senator Hinchey, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim May 2023 as Lyme Disease Awareness Month in the state of New York.
Senator Hinchey on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. Lyme disease and other tick-borne illnesses have become a public health crisis. If you live in a rural community, a suburban community, and even some of our urban communities, the threat to Lyme disease or another tick-borne illness is grave. I think everyone knows either someone in their family or another person in their community, at least one, who's been impacted by Lyme disease. This is a disease that sticks with you for life. It causes severe health impacts, cognitive issues, and other debilitating outcomes. And often this disease is not well understood. The data is not tracked. People don't understand what the repercussions are. They don't even know how to look for it. We're told often that when you get a bullseye, when you're bitten by a tick, you will get a bullseye. That only happens in a small percentage of cases. And so it's actually something that's really difficult to diagnose and to understand. For me personally, we believe that my uncle actually passed away from undiagnosed Lyme disease from just working in his backyard on Long Island. Every family has some story similar to that. Here, it's estimated that nearly 500,000 people are diagnosed with Lyme each year. And for over a decade, New York has been one of 10 states with the most Lyme cases. And the areas that I represent in Dutchess, Ulster, and Columbia counties have some of the highest numbers of deer ticks in the entire state. We have to bring more awareness to both Lyme disease and other tick-borne illnesses to be able not just to save lives, but to find a treatment and to also understand how vast this issue and this disease is, how prevalent it is across our communities. This resolution proclaiming the month of May as Lyme Disease Awareness Month here in the state of New York is just one step towards making sure more people can stay safe and be protected. And I'm proud to vote aye, and I thank the leader and this chamber for bringing it forward. Thank you very much.
Senator Rollison on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Senator Hinchey, the sponsor of this resolution, in bringing awareness to Lyme disease. As Senator Hinchey said, the Hudson Valley has been the epicenter from the beginning with Lyme disease. I, myself, had Lyme disease at least twice, and I live in the city of Poughkeepsie. So you don't have to necessarily be out in the fields or in the woods to have a tick and to get Lyme disease. Many family members also, one family member actually had Lyme disease in such a way that he was on IV fluids for several weeks to help bring that under control, which thankfully it did. In the early days, when Lyme disease wasn't even really a term and it was going undiagnosed, as Senator Hinchey has said, I had several friends who still to this day suffer the effects of Lyme disease in a very serious way. So this is another great reason to have resolutions like this, proclaiming months and days and weeks with certain things, because everybody leads a busy life, and sometimes we forget about taking these simple precautions that we can all take when we're outside to keep ticks off of us, both on ourselves and on our pets. And I proudly vote aye, Madam President.
Senator Mannion on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you to Senator Hinchey for bringing forward this resolution. Lyme disease and tick-borne illnesses are an emerging and exponential disease. It's exponentially growing. We are in a crisis, and this disease is challenging to diagnose. There is currently no vaccine for humans, and the treatment can be challenging as well. This is personal for me. One of my children entering their senior year of high school contracted Lyme disease, was unaware that it was Lyme, and the only positive that came from it was that the symptoms were so acute that my child had to be treated. It quickly progressed into what is referred to as Lyme meningitis, and that child had to be hospitalized for 5 days. Her cerebrospinal fluid pressure is normally under 20, and that was at 55 when she was at the hospital. She had blurred vision, loss of vision, crossed eyes, and we're very fortunate that we have the medical care here in New York State and around the country to deal with that. But we must do more. And I was happy to ask our new, soon-to-be new and current interim commissioner, of the Department of Health a question on it because we must pay greater attention to it. It is silently, harshly impacting the lives of many New Yorkers. I thank the senator again for this resolution, and I proudly vote aye.
Senator Harkam on the resolution.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I want to thank Senator Hinchey for bringing this resolution to the floor. I want to thank the colleagues who have just spoken on this disease. I share their sentiments. Tick-borne diseases, Lyme, babesiosis, Bartonella. We talk in terms of behavioral co-occurring disorders. There are also co-infections of tick-borne illnesses. What is important, I think, in addition to what colleagues have said, is the institutional stigma that exists against Lyme disease still to this day in the medical community and in the insurance industry. And up until only a few years ago, New York State was going after the licenses of doctors who had the temerity to treat long-term Lyme or chronic Lyme, something that some in the medical community still deny exists. Some in the insurance company deny treatments for long-term Lyme and chronic Lyme conditions such as you've heard expressed here today. So it's important that we get the word out about prevention, but certainly we in this chamber need to do more in terms of breaking down the barriers, in terms of medical care, in terms of insurance. And this is also another harbinger of climate change, is that we no longer have the snowpacks that used to kill ticks in the winter. The tick populations are growing and moving to areas where they never did before. They're moving further north, moving into urban areas. So this is a much greater challenge. So I want to thank the sponsor. I want to thank everybody who's spoken on this and take this as a call to action, not just in terms of awareness, but in terms of public policy to break down barriers in medical care and insurance for people living with Lyme. I vote aye. Thank you.
The resolution was previously adopted on May 16th. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. Let's now take up previously adopted Resolution 1096 by Senator May. Read that resolution title only and call on Senator May.
The Secretary will read.
Senate Resolution 1096 by Senator May, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim May 2023 as Bike Month in the state of New York in conjunction with National Bike Month.
Senator May on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask everyone to picture a bicycle in your mind. If you're imagining two equal-sized wheels joined by a chain on a frame with a seat and handlebars, that's the iconic bike that was first produced in 1885, and in all the 14 decades since then, no one has come up with a more efficient form of transportation. To go a mile on a bike takes about half the calories it takes to walk a mile, and it gets you there much faster. A small car with one passenger takes 50 to 80 times as much power to go a mile, and it comes with a lot of environmental health and safety problems as well. So in that context, I am thrilled to speak in favor of this resolution naming May Bike Month in New York State. Biking is fun, it's healthy, it's green, it's economical, it's more and more accessible as we see e-bikes, recumbent bikes, bikes with trailers, bike share options. We're also seeing more and more of New York State itself become accessible by bike now that the Empire State Trail is fully open and many localities are developing their own bike paths and bike trails. This past Saturday, I had the pleasure of marking the second anniversary of the Syracuse Bike Party, which meets every last Saturday of the month. This month, we had about 200 joyous folks of all ages and backgrounds on all kinds of two-wheeled contraptions, seeing neighborhoods of the city most of them had never traversed before, as children waved gleefully from their porches. Last week, two of our colleagues biked up to session in Albany from New York City. I look forward to welcoming some of you to join me on the newly opened stretch of the Empire Trail that runs right through the middle of Syracuse. And I invite all of my colleagues to celebrate Bike Month and enjoy bike riding any time of the year. I vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you. The resolution was previously adopted on May 23rd. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. At the request of the sponsors, the resolutions are all open for co-sponsorship.
The resolutions are open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor on the resolutions, please notify the desk. Senator Serrano.
Thank you. At this time, let's please take up the reading of the calendar.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 126, Senate Print 1201 by Senator Parker, enactment of the Public Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 5, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 126, voted in the negative, Senator Walzig, ayes 57, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 242, Senate Print 134 by Senator Kruger, enactment of the Public Health Law and the Civil Rights Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 370, Assembly number 1686A by Assemblymember Hunter, enactment of the Private Housing Finance Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 180th day. It shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 392, Senate Print 4970 by Senator Jackson, an act in relation to directing the Division of Housing and Community Renewal to study non-rental fees charged by landlords.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar number 392, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Castaneda Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rollison, Steck, Tedisco, Walzig, and Weber. Ayes 42, nays 16.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 438, Senate Print 2714 by Senator Kennedy, an act to amend the Highway Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 438, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Castaneda Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rollison, Steck, Tedisco, Walzig, and Weber. Ayes 40, nays 18.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 458, Senate Print 438 by Senator Skoufis, an act to amend the election law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 491, Assembly number 3110 by Assemblymember Magnarelli, an act to amend the Real Property Actions and Proceedings Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day. It shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 491, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Castaneda Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rolison, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Ayes 40, nays 18.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 504, Assembly number 5772 by Assemblymember Levine, enactment of the Civil Practice Law and Rules.
Read the last section.
Section 2 is act to take effect on the 1st of January.
Call the roll.
Dabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 504, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Morello, Cancellier Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Matera, Murray, Obrecker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rolison, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Ayes 42, nays 16.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 576, Senate Print 5414 by Senator Holman Siegel, concurrent resolution of the Senate and Assembly proposing amendments to Article 6 of the Constitution.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 576, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Cancellier Fitzpatrick, Griffo, Lanza, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, Ort, Rhodes, Rolison, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Also Senator O'Mara. Also Senator Griffo. Ayes 43, nays 15.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 607, Assembly number 6856 by Assemblymember Fefer Amato, enactment of the the Civil Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 11, this act take effect on the 90th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 662, Senate Print 5444 by Senator Scarcella Spanton, enactment of the General Business Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 662, voted in the negative, Senator Walzick. Ayes 57, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 665, Senate Print 5597 by Senator Comrie, enactment of the banking law.
Read the last section.
Section 2 is act to take effect on the 180th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Dabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar number 665, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Cancellier Fitzpatrick, Helming, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Ayes 47, nays 11.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 684, Senate Print 6112 by Senator Stavisky, enactment of the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 684, voted in negative, Senator Walzick. Ayes 57, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 750, Senate Print 6525 by Senator Scarcella Spanton, enactment of the private housing finance law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act take effect on the 90th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Senator Scarcella Spanton to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to my colleagues here in the Senate for all your support in helping pass this legislation, which will provide much-needed support and assistance to our veterans. Our veterans, particularly those with service-related disabilities, often face unique challenges when transitioning back to civilian life. Stable and affordable housing is a crucial aspect of this transition, as it provides a solid foundation upon which veterans can rebuild their lives and reintegrate into civilian life. The Affordable Home Ownership Development Program is designed to help individuals and families achieve their dream of owning a home by providing financial assistance and support. This program has already had a positive impact on many New Yorkers, helping them secure affordable housing and build a better future for themselves and their families. By giving veterans who had service-related injuries access to affordable home ownership opportunities, we are helping them achieve stability, independence, and a sense of belonging to their communities. This legislation is a crucial step towards providing vital support and opportunities for those who have served our country, and especially those with service-related disabilities. These brave men and women who have made immense sacrifices to protect our freedoms, and this bill is just one way that we can support them the way they've always supported us. I proudly vote aye, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
Senator Scarcella-Spanton to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 753, Senate Print 4738 by Senator Kennedy, an act to amend the General Municipal Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results. Oh. Announce the results.
In relation to Calendar 753, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Kruger, Martinez, May, and Ryan. Ayes 54. Also Senator Lanza. Anybody else? What's that? Ayes 53, nays 5.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 767, Senate Print 3257 by Senator Hoylman Siegel, an act to amend the Public Officers Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to Calendar 767, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Canzone Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rollinson, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Ayes 42, nays 16.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 771, Senate Print 6433 by Senator Mannion, an act to amend the Mental Hygiene Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act take effect on the 120th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 774, Senate Print 1695 by Senator Claire, an act to amend the Real Property Tax Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 782, Senate Print 5984A by Senator Kavanaugh, an act to amend the election law.
Read the last section.
Section 5, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to Calendar 782, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Canzone Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rollinson, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Ayes 40, nays 18.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 794, Assembly number 7112 by Assemblymember Pfeffer Amato, an act to amend the Surrogate Course Procedure Act.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 794, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, O'Mara, Ort, Rhodes, Tedisco, and Weber. Ayes 40, also Senator Gallivan. Ayes 48, nays 10.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 801, Senate Print 3409 by Senator Skoufis, an act to amend the general municipal law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act take effect on the 60th day of it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 801, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Caesar Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rallis, and Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Ayes 41, nays 17.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 806, Senate Print 6312 by Senator Kennedy, an act to amend the general municipal law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 813, Senate Print 6342 by Senator Stavisky, an act to amend the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 838, Senate Print 2919 by Senator Claire, an act to amend the executive law and the state finance law.
Read the last section.
Section 6, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins.
Senator Claire to explain her vote.
President, sadly, the consequences of redlining are still being felt throughout our communities. Nearly 100 years after the abhorrent FHA sanction process locked Black families out of stable, affordable housing, opportunities for growth and advancement, and the type of generational wealth that others may take for granted. The system that was put in place with red lines separating those who could get a mortgage from those who could not is in many ways still in place. This bill is a part of a series of efforts to deal with this unfortunate and punitive legacy of housing discrimination. This bill is designed to discourage appraisal discrimination, as study after study have shown that race and the racial composition of home buyers, sellers, and neighborhoods have a disparate impact that still disadvantages people of color. Consider this New York Times headline from 2022, home appraised with a Black owner, $472,000, with a white owner, $750,000. This bill will root out those who engage in appraisal discrimination, revoke their licenses if necessary, and fine them, with those fines being directed back into anti-discrimination efforts in housing. It is the very least we can do to help change a system that has held certain people back for nearly a century, and I proudly vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Claire to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 838, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Griffo, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Ayes 47, nays 11.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 845, Assembly number 4972A by Assemblymember Bronstein, an act to amend the real property tax law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 849, Senate Print 6017 by Senator Paulin, an act to amend the public health law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 850, Senate Print 4787 by Senator Rivera, an act to amend the social services law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 851, Senate Print 4889 by Senator Rivera, an act to amend the social services law and the insurance law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect on the 1st of January.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 851, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Ort, Palumbo, and Walzek. Anybody else? Ayes 55, nays 3.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 854, Senate Print 5815 by Senator Mannion, enactment of the Public Health Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act to take effect June 1st, 2024.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 856, Senate Print 6075 by Senator Skoufis, enact to amend the Social Services Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act to take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Fernandez to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank everyone for bringing this bill to the floor. At a time that we're seeing attacks on our neighbors for their religion, how they look, how they live, this bill is so important to protect those that practice whatever religion they have, wearing religious garbs, and would now create a statute that this is an aggravated assault. It would protect them in getting justice from an attacker that would attack their choice of wardrobe based on their religion, whether it be a turban or a hijab or whatever have you. But this is a protection of your right to practice and to express your religion as you choose, and should you be attacked, there will be consequences. So I thank the conference for supporting this bill, and I proudly vote aye.
Senator Fernandez to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 869, Senate Print 5302 by Senator Fernandez, enact to amend the Penal Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act to take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 882, Senate Print 6404 by Senator Henchy, enact to amend the Executive Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act to take effect on the 60th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Hinchey to explain her vote.
It is incredibly important that we hit our renewable energy goals and the goals set forth in the CLCPA, but it's also incredibly important that we're protecting agricultural land and supporting our communities in more rural areas, which are often cited for these solar energy projects. And I had the opportunity to ask the executive director of ORES numerous times through budget hearings, as well as in our energy committee, who was looking at cumulative impacts and who was compiling a full document, a map, a full list of Article 10s and 94C projects so that we can get a holistic view of what's being proposed. We also want to make sure that we actually are on track to hit the goals of the CLCPA, and so therefore we should know what's in the pipeline and what's scaling up, and therefore what we also need to do to hit those goals. It was a shock to me to find out we actually didn't have a comprehensive map. And so that's what this bill sets forth to do, to actually create a map that lives publicly, that people can see where projects are being cited, where they're being developed, and that way municipalities and communities can find locations that are suitable for development, and we can also make sure that we're hitting our goals, understanding what's in the pipeline and what's already greenlit. This is a common sense bill that I'm really proud to bring forward. I thank the chamber for voting on this today, and for that, Madam President, I vote aye.
Senator Hinchey to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 889, Senate Print 6745 by Senator Skoufis, enact to amend the Executive Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 990, Senate Print 3313A by Senator Skoufis, enact to amend the Legislative Law.
Read the last section.
Section 8, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 997, Senate Print 682 by Senator Comrie, enact to amend the General Business Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 997, voted in the negative, Senator Walzek. Ayes 57, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1000, Senate Print 4907A by Senator Rivera, enact to amend the Public Health Law and the General Business Law.
Read the last section.
Section 6, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Kruger to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to support the bill. Many of us know that medical debt is, in fact, the largest debt that American citizens are carrying, and it can literally destroy their lives, and this simple bill will at least protect them from some of the most aggressive behaviors by private entities and ensure that their credit records are not destroyed so that they can continue the rest of their lives while they struggle to figure out how to pay their medical bills. And frankly, it's very disturbing that considering what a huge percentage of New Yorkers are covered by health insurance, that we still have unbelievably high medical debt with people's bank accounts being taken from them, liens put on their homes, inability to borrow money or pay for their children's education. We have to get our arms around this in a much broader way, but I certainly support this bill and urge my colleagues to do the same. Thank you, Madam President.
Senator Krueger to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1000, those senators voting in the negative are Senators Borrello, Councilman Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Lanza, Oberacker, O'Mara, Steck, Walczak, and Weber. Ayes 48, nays 10.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1007, Senate Print 2706 by Senator Harkam, an act to establish the East of Hudson Watershed Road Salt Reduction Task Force.
Read the last section.
Section 3, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1007, voted in the negative are Senators Lanza and Oberacker. Ayes 56, nays 2.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1009, Assembly number 3720 by Assemblymember Paulin, enactment of the Public Authorities Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, the statute take effect on the 60th day and it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1014, Assembly number 5516 by Assemblymember Hunter, enactment of the Banking Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1024, Senate Print 2747 by Senator Bailey, enactment of the Executive Law and the Criminal Procedure Law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act take effect on the 180th day and it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar number 1024, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Helming, Oberacker, Ort, Tedisco, and Walczak. Ayes 53, nays 5.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1025, Senate Print 2913A by Senator May, an act to amend the Education Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator May to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. A recent study found that about 2 out of every 5 college students experience food insecurity. They are balancing paying tuition and paying rent and buying their books and buying food, and many of them are coming up short when it comes to the food piece of that. And so this bill would make grants to SUNY institutions, public colleges, to create a task force to help students navigate the SNAP program and to help establish food pantries on these campuses. I'm pleased that this morning in his State of the University address, Chancellor King announced an additional $1 million investment in food pantries at SUNY institutions. I hope that together we can truly create hunger-free campuses as this bill attempts to do. So I vote aye with great pride. Thank you.
Senator May to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Murray to explain his vote.
Thank you, Madam President. While I certainly do support the bill and support the effort, we don't want hungry students. I can't help but point out that when we talk about forming these grants, I'm looking for the amount that it would cost and under the fiscal impact system to be determined and subject to appropriations. Well, the appropriations usually happen in the budget process. And this year, we were looking for appropriations to ensure that all of our children, K through 12, were fed. All of those children that are going hungry. You know what? We fell short. So while I do support this effort, my concern is this. Before we forget about that and move on to this, I suggest we revisit and make sure we find every penny needed to ensure that every hungry child in New York State, K through 12, is fed. With that said, I do support this bill. Thank you, Madam President.
Senator Murray to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1025, voted in the negative, Senator Walczak. Ayes 57, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1028, Senate Print 3525 by Senator Fernandez, enactment of the mental hygiene law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, the statute will take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1033, Senate Print 5422 by Senator Ramos, enactment of the labor law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, the statute will take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1033, voted in the negative are Senators Griffo and Walczak. Ayes 56. Also Senator Gallivan. Ayes 55, nays 3.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1039, Senate Print 5516 by Senator Brooke, enactment of the mental hygiene law.
The bill will be laid aside for today.
Calendar number 1042, Senate Print 5970 by Senator Harkam, enactment of the mental hygiene law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, the statute will take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1043, Senate Print 62 by Senator Harkam, enactment of the public health law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1050, Senate Print 3472 by Senator Rivera, enactment of the public health law.
Read the last section.
Section 5, this act shall take effect on the 90th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1063, Assembly number 5609 by Assemblymember Rozek, enactment of the workers' compensation law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1067, Senate Print 349A by Senator Clear, enactment of the criminal procedure law.
Read the last section.
Section 14, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Senator Claire to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm sorry. Upon election to the Senate, I made deliberate efforts to fight human trafficking. We have passed meaningful legislation and held community conversations, but there is more to accomplish. Sadly, we know that at present, due to many variables, effective cases of human trafficking prosecution are very challenging to bring in a timely, meaningful, and preventative manner. However, there's no time limit to the trauma and the scars suffered, and no one pathway to becoming a survivor. Therefore, we must ensure that justice is not denied due to the simple passage of time. The bill we have now before us will empower district attorneys all over the state to be able to effectively prosecute the most heinous and grievous acts of human trafficking in a way that will not only hold people accountable, but also help change the system. Senate Bill 349 will eliminate the criminal statute of limitations for sex trafficking and extend the window for survivors to file lawsuits to parallel other changes we have recently made in law. I want to thank Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg for being such an effective partner on this legislation, and now NYC and so many other groups for your powerful and resounding advocacy. Today, we stand up for survivors and ensure that they may seek justice. I vote aye with pride and encourage my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
Senator Claire to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Rhodes to explain his vote.
Thank you, Madam President, and I want to thank Senator Clear for her advocacy, not only on this issue, but certainly importantly on this issue. It is an incredibly important topic. This bill is incredibly important to extend both the civil and criminal statutes of limitation to make sure that when victims feel comfortable enough to find their voice, they have the opportunity to be able to exercise it. I do think, while I support the legislation, I do believe that there is an important opportunity that's been missed here. And that important opportunity is to actually offer some protection to victims. One of the reasons that there's reluctance to come forward is not just social stigma, but actual fear about being victimized again by those individuals who victimized them the first time. Whether that is a child who's afraid of an uncle or an aunt who victimized them, whether that's a worker who's afraid of another employee or a boss who victimized them. While we're offering them the ability to come forward, by refusing to allow justices to consider the dangerousness of the criminal accused and whether or not they present a continuing risk to the victim, or in the case, for example, a child predator, a continuing risk to a class of individuals, by refusing to allow judges the opportunity to set bail based upon their threat to both the victim and the community, we are doing a disservice in protecting those victims while providing them the opportunity to be able to come forward. So as important as this bill is, I think we need to recognize that there are common sense consequences that make victims less safe by refusing to allow judges the discretion to be able to consider the dangerousness of the criminal, and I hope that's something that we can work on together, hopefully to fix in the future. So thank you, and I proudly vote aye.
Senator Rhodes to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Kruger to explain her vote.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I also rise to thank Senator Claire for her work in this field and for bringing this bill to us today. You know, I remember being here when we finally passed the actual criminalization of human trafficking law, and there were actually still fights to the day we passed that bill that we couldn't do away with criminal penalties for the young women who had been human trafficked into lives of crime because, quote, someone on this floor who no longer is here, once girls go bad, you can never fix them. So I believe we've come a long way since then, and yet not nearly far enough, because the fact is that women, children, young boys, young girls are still being literally stolen from our streets. Runaways are being picked up by pimps, forced into prostitution and pornography. Then these children become adults and feel they have nothing else they can do. They are not worthy of anything. No one will hear them. No one cared or was willing to do anything for them as they were being brutally raped day in, day out for years. And so the fact that this bill will allow people who are brave enough and willing to come forward to get justice from abusers who have gone completely left out of this storyline, I think is so, so important for the people of this state, and to remind us all that this is still going on. New York State has one of the highest human trafficking rates in this country, disproportionately into sexual business, disproportionately young women of color in this state. So thank you very much, Senator Claire. I vote yes.
Senator Kruger to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Bailey to explain his vote.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator Claire, I really want to thank you for introducing this piece of legislation. Every year I do a human trafficking awareness assembly in my district, and we bring in a host of law enforcement officials and other support services, because the North Bronx and the lower Westchester, City of Mount Vernon is one of the highest areas where incidents of human trafficking take place. And to hear some of the stories that some of these law enforcement individuals have had to literally run in and rescue, and they've done simulations with some of the young men and women in these schools, that shows how much of a scourge human trafficking truly is on our society. And with this piece of legislation, you're allowing us to allow these victims to have a little bit more clarity in their life, and to know that something can be done, because sometimes they say comparison is a thief of joy. You can't get back those years that were taken from you, right? You can't get back those innocent years, and sometimes these women and young women and young men are forever changed by that's their time being trafficked, and it takes years and years and years to even get them to a place that approaches where they were before that. So, really important piece of legislation. I salute you, and I proudly vote aye, Madam President.
Senator Bailey to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Helming to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I, too, rise to thank the sponsor for bringing this legislation to the floor. And I wanted to add on to what Senator Krueger shared. I represent, you've all heard me say it many times, a predominantly very rural area. And sometimes I think that our rural areas get forgotten, especially when it comes to human trafficking, but it is out there, and it is terrible, terrible. I had the opportunity to recently meet with several of the leaders from my counties who work with primarily teenagers, but really these are teenagers who are impacted by trafficking. Most of it, as Senator Krueger said, is a sex trafficking, and they're looking for more resources, more help from the state to establish housing, to be able to put these folks into safe housing. It's really, to listen to the stories and the experiences, it's heartbreaking. Some of these children are being trafficked by their own parents who have substance abuse issues of their own, who are dealing with homelessness, and so much else that's going on. So again, I just wanted to rise and say thank you to the sponsor, Senator Clear, for bringing this to the floor and keeping this topic alive, but also just to remind everyone here that this is an issue that not only impacts our cities, but also our rural communities. I will be voting yes on this legislation. Thank you.
Senator Helming to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1085, Senate Print 3315, excuse me, by Senator Sepulveda, enactment of the Circuit Courts Procedure Act.
The bill will be laid aside for the day.
Calendar number 1097, Senate Print 5007A by Senator Gonzalez, enactment of the State Technology Law.
Read the last section.
Section 5, this action will take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell, Cousins, White.
Senator Gonzalez to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I am proud to speak in favor of the Secure Our Data Act. Since 2017, more than 3,600 local, state, and tribal governments across the country have been targeted by cyber attacks. New York is not exempt from this. Hundreds of cyber attacks are attempted on government entities each year. Cyber attacks have real-world consequences for New Yorkers. For example, last year, an attack on the One Brooklyn Hospital group in Senator Myrie's district forced a network of 3 hospitals in Brooklyn to work off paper charts for weeks following a cyber attack on its computer systems. The hospitals are located in predominantly low-income communities of color, such as Brownsville, and this isn't the first time cyber attacks have targeted low-income communities. In 2020, Wyckoff Hospital had to deal with a cyber attack as well. These attacks also have real-world consequences for our government. A separate attack last year pushed Suffolk County's local government offline for weeks, forcing officials on Long Island to disable email for all 10,000 civil service workers. While we can't eradicate these attacks, we can fortify the defenses that protect our information systems and the personal information that they store. The Secure Our Data Act does this by requiring the Office of Information Technology and other state agencies to set up data protection standards, vulnerability assessments, data and information inventories, and recovery procedures. New Yorkers should never have to fear that their personal information is at risk simply because they have interacted with a state agency. And today, we're taking a big step in building that trust. Therefore, I proudly vote aye and urge my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
Senator Gonzalez to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1111, Senate Print 6151 by Senator Canzoneri Fitzpatrick, enactment Chapter 676 of the laws of 1978.
The bill will be laid aside for the day.
Calendar number 1113, Assembly number 6751 by Assemblymember Jacobson, enactment of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this action will take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1114, Senate Print 6528A by Senator Bailey, enactment of the General Business Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this action will take effect on the 180th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell, Cousins, White.
Senator Bailey to explain his vote.
Thank you, Madam President. On this very floor, a couple of years back, we passed something called the Crown Act to protect against racially and hair-based discrimination. in the state of New York. We're taking another step today with requiring that cosmetologists are properly trained in culturally competent hair for curls and wave patterns. I'm especially excited about the word wave pattern being in a state statute. You know, they say that our crowns are the way that we wear our hair, and it's very important and unique to each and every one of us. There's no better feeling sometimes than walking out of that barber chair or that beauty salon chair and just that feeling about your appearance and that fresh cut feeling, as I would say, Madam President. But we want to make sure that the people that are within the confines of the state, if they say that they are able to do your hair in a certain way, that they're able to do it properly. If I want 360 waves, I'm not asking for finger waves. They need to know the difference between the difference. And there are a number of other things that are really important in this measure. But I'm eternally grateful to be able to pass this bill, and I'm hopeful that we can get it done in the Assembly so that we can continue to protect the crowns that we have. I vote aye, Madam President.
Senator Bailey to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1114, those senators voting in the negative are Senators Oberacker and Walzek. Ayes 56, nays 2.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1116, Senate Print 661A by Senator White. An act in relation to authorizing the Chabad of Isip Township Incorporated to receive retroactive real property tax exempt status.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1116, voted in the negative, Senator O'Mara. Ayes 57, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1117, Senate Print 6680 by Senator Murray, an act to amend Chapter 638 of the laws of 2022.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1117, voted in the negative, Senator O'Mara. Ayes 57, nays 1.
The bill is passed. Senator Lanza, why do you rise?
President, can we pause to congratulate Senator Murray on the passage of his first bill?
Congratulations.
Calendar number 1118, Senate Print 6741 by Senator Janoris, an act to amend the Alcoholic Beverage Control Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1129, Senate Print 785 by Senator Webb, an act to amend the Alcoholic Beverage Control Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed. There's a substitution at the desk. Read the last section.
Senator Weber moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 7398, is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 7359, third reading calendar 1130.
Read the last section.
Calendar number 1130, Assembly number 7398 by Assembly Member Zabrowski, an act to amend the real property tax law.
Call the roll.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately. Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed. There's a substitution at the desk. Secretary will read.
Senator Weber moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 7399, is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 7360, third reading calendar 1131. Calendar number 1131, Assembly number 7399 by Assembly Member Zabrowski, an act to amend the real property tax law.
Substitution so ordered. Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1132, Senate Print 258 by Senator Serrano, an act to amend the executive law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1132, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Kansanen Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Hellman, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rollinson, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Ayes 41, nays 17.
The bill is passed. Senator Lanza, why do you rise?
Madam President, I apologize, but I neglected to ask this body to pause on calendar 1130, which was Senator Weber's first bill.
Calendar number 1174, Assembly number 4265 by Assemblymember Paulin, an act to amend the transportation law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 60th day of it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1184, Assembly number 6164 by Assemblymember Weapon, an act to amend the insurance law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1191, Assembly number 7291 by Assemblymember Steck, an act to amend the insurance law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1191, voted in the negative, Senator Skoufis. Ayes 57, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1201, Senate Print 6955 by Senator Hinchey, an act to amend the general municipal law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1201, voted in the negative, Senator Walzick. Ayes 57, nays. Also Senator Mannion. Ayes 56, nays 2.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1202, Assembly number 5697 by Assemblymember Barrett, an act to amend the social services law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1202, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Kansanen Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Hellman, Lanza, Matera, Oberacker, O'Mara, Palumbo, Rhodes, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Ayes 43, nays 15.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1209, Senate Print 3594 by Senator Harkin, an act to amend the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1212, Assembly number 6807 by Assemblymember Werner, an act to amend the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Senator Chu to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President, for letting me explain my vote and highlight the importance of this legislation. Under current education law, the definition of school library material is limited to the items in print, in audio, and virtual form. However, nowadays, with our technology advancement, we can no longer ignore the availability and accessibility that digital materials can be used to educate our students. Students now can access documents, literature, and art form from all over the world and in digital form. Many of these items are now accessible to our students who have a disability, such as issues of mobility or low vision, and just to name those two. Digital materials can now open gateways to enhance and enrich learning for our students, but only if our school libraries are able to provide the access to it. As a state legislator, it is our duty to keep our laws up to date. This bill intends to keep up with our education environment. I'm proud to sponsor this bill to support our school system, our library, and our students. I encourage my colleagues to vote yes and show their support as well. Thank you, Madam President. For this reason, I vote aye.
Senator Chu to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1213, Senate Print 6669 by Senator Tedisco, enact Amendment Chapter 203 of the laws of 1957.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1217, Senate Print 7093 by Senator Chu, enact to amend the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1218, Senate Print 1567 by Senator Salazar, enact to amend the social services law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1224, Senate Print 3318 by Senator Sepulveda, enact to amend the correction law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 120th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1224, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Casanare Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rollison, Steck, Tedisco, Walzick, and Weber. Ayes 41, nays 17.
The bill is passed. There's a home rule message at the desk.
Calendar number 1234, Assembly number 4092 by Assemblymember Burns, enactment of the Public Authorities Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1242, Assembly number 1753A by Assemblymember Dinowitz, enactment of the General Obligations Law and the State Technology Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1243, Senate Print 5540 by Senator Harkam, concurrent resolution of the Senate and Assembly proposing an amendment to Section 1 of Article 14 of the Constitution.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Steck to explain his vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Senator Harkam for his work on this legislation. This is a critical constitutional amendment. As most of you all know, almost anything involving transfer of land or use of forest preserve in the Adirondack Park requires a constitutional amendment. It's a lengthy process, but I appreciate Senator Harkam for his work on this. This centers around expanding trails and an event area for biathlon and Nordic ski in North Elba, Lake Placid, the home of the 1932 and 1980 Winter Olympic Games, and most recently, following a lot of improvements to the venues sponsored and supported by the state of New York, the FISU Games last year. So the investment has been made, it's going well, but this constitutional amendment is important for continuing to support the Olympic venues in the Adirondacks, and specifically in my district. So I want to thank Senator Harkam again for carrying this bill for us.
Senator Steck to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Harkam to explain his vote.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I just want to stand very quickly to thank Senator Steck for all his hard work on this legislation and for bringing it to us. This was really his bill. I was proud to carry it over the finish line, but I want to thank him for all his great work on this. I'll be voting in the affirmative. Thank you.
Senator Harkam to be in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1256, Senate Print 3221 by Senator Claire, enactment of the State Finance Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1258, Senate Print 3610 by Senator Webb, enactment of the Public Health Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 180th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1262, Senate Print 5992A by Senator Prasad, enactment of the Public Health Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Janoris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1263, Senate Print 6082A by Senator Fernandez, enactment of the Public Health Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Fernandez to explain her vote.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I'm very grateful to be a New Yorker and honored to have this position, to be in a state, being a part of a state that has always led when it comes to reproductive rights and protection of women. And in this time where we see some states even punishing women for going through traumatic experiences such as miscarriage and infant loss, this bill is so important and so needed right now. It is a compassionate piece of legislation that is necessary to address the unique needs of individuals and families affected by pregnancy and infant loss. It empowers them with information and resources to navigate the healing process and ensures they receive the support they need and require during this difficult time. It's a bill that we name Ava's Law in memory of Ava, the daughter that we unfortunately don't have today, the daughter of someone that I'm very grateful and honored and grateful that she shared this story with me. And I thank her for being here today, my friend Kai, for sharing this experience, because it is an experience that many women go through, sadly in silence, unfortunately in silence. To go through pregnancy loss, your body is not the same. You don't realize the changes that are happening when what you expected to happen doesn't happen. And this bill would create an education and outreach program as basic as pamphlets that the Department of Health would have to give and inform to those that had suffered from pregnancy loss to prepare them for what may happen. Because milk still produces, your body goes through postpartum, and we need to make sure that those that are in this difficult time have full support and knowledge of the resources around them and from the state so they can get to the healing path and succeed in getting through the healing path. And this bill is going to change so many lives. It's going to help so many women that in the most difficult time of their life that they probably didn't expect, they know where the help is. They know where to get the resources. And New York State, as we have been a leader in this, I'm very proud that today we're making another step in making sure that women and everyone involved is prepared, is informed, and is supported. So thank you, Madam President, for bringing this bill to the floor. Thank you all for everyone for supporting it, because it is an experience that is incredibly unfortunate, incredibly unexpected. And at the very least, we as a government, as a society, as a state, should be helpful, should be supportive. And this bill will make sure that we know what we can do and what some should do to make sure that they are healed in some of the most traumatic times of their life. So thank you so much for this. Please vote aye. This is going to be, again, a basic bill that will change and protect and save and help families get past the moment and grow and continue to be a prosperous member of this state. So in memory of Ava, thank you for voting for Ava's Law. Please vote aye. And let us continue to make sure that New York State is always going to be protective, supportive, and informing of every resource that's out there. Thank you.
Senator Fernandez to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1265, Senate Print 327 by Senator Rivera, an act in relation to the definition of safety net providers.
Laid aside.
Calendar number 1271, Senate Print 2519 by Senator Gallivan, an act to deem an application filed with the New York State and local police and fire retirement system by the widow of Lawrence Lakeman as timely filed.
Read the last section.
Section 3, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1278, Senate Print 4877 by Senator Mayer, enactment of the state finance law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1279, Assembly number 5208 by Assemblymember Fefa Amato, enactment of the retirement and social security law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, the statute shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1280, Assembly number 4721 by Assemblymember Szilagyi, enactment of the civil practice law and rules.
Read the last section.
Section 2, the statute shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Gonzalez to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I am proud to stand up to speak on the passage of S 5137 to allow greater access to a legal system that all too often is inaccessible. This bill would prevent a court from denying a class action lawsuit solely on the basis that the suit involves governmental operations. The government operations rule is unique to New York and does not exist in other states or the federal government because it limits the ability for class action lawsuits to be certified when a case involves a state entity. Class actions are a powerful tool for justice, and with the Supreme Court's rightward shift, we can't count on circumventing New York courts by bringing these cases to federal courts. That's why removing the operations rule is important. It's removing one more barrier to wielding the power that class action lawsuits have to bring relief to the most marginalized populations. And suits brought as class actions have held government agencies in this state accountable in numerous ways over the past decades. They've challenged the failures of New York's foster care system. They've sought to remedy nursing home facilities' failing health standards, ensured mentally ill prison inmates have treatment plans upon discharge, and challenged the NYPD's practices of racial profiling under stop and frisk. I am proud to be part of a body that believes in granting New Yorkers greater access to the power of the courts, and I vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Gonzalez to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1280, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Cancelaria Fitzpatrick, Hellman, Matera, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Rhodes, Rollison, Steck, Tedisco, Walzik, and Weber. Ayes 44, nays 14.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1287, Senate Print 6523 by Senator Scarcella Stanton, enactment of the Veteran Services Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2 shall take effect on the 90th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Senator Scarcella Stanton to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you to my colleagues in the Senate for all your support in helping pass this legislation, which will require the Department of Veteran Services to collaborate with other state agencies in creating a resource database for veterans and their families. One of the things that I was, I think, most frustrated by when I started this job was learning of how many wonderful resources there are for veterans and their families while I'm sitting on this side of the desk. But when my husband and I first moved back from Colorado, from Fort Carson, where he was stationed, not being able to find all those resources when my family personally really needed them. This could be anything from housing resources to mental health resources, anything that we provide here in New York State. And New York State does a really wonderful job of providing support to our veterans, but it's just not always easy to find. So one of the things that made the most sense to me was to create a registry of the resources, whether that's career opportunities for veterans, housing opportunities, mental health resources, not just for the veteran, but also for the veteran's family, because there's a lot that you go through together upon returns from deployments. This was a big priority for me, and I'm really excited to see it pass today on the Senate floor. I know that this is going to be so beneficial to countless veterans and their families across New York State. I proudly vote aye, and I encourage my colleagues to as well. Thank you.
Senator Scarcella Stanton to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1294, Senate Print 5642 by Senator Mannion, enactment of the Real Property Tax Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, the section shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1302, Senate Print 4511A by Senator Ramos, enact to amend the Education Law.
Read the last section.
Section 6 is actually take effect April 1st, 2024.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Senator Ramos to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in honor of our public defenders. You know, lawyers work very hard, study for a very long time in order to fulfill their vocation of being a true advocate for each and every one of us. And to me, public defenders, you know, when they could be a fancy defense attorney and, you know, make money on big cases, they actually choose to represent the poorest among us, the most vulnerable, and I wanted to show a token of my appreciation to their work with this bill. And though I believe all student debt should be canceled federally, absolutely, this is but a way to recognize their sacrifice and their hard work in ensuring that everyone has a representative before the court. So thank you, Madam President.
Senator Ramos to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1302, voted in the negative, Senator Walzek. Ayes 57, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1310, Senate Print 23 by Senator Steck, enactment of the Civil
There's
Practice.
a home rule message at the desk.
Section 2, this action take effect immediately.
Read the last section.
Adabo Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Call the roll.
Got you. Okay, that's it. In relation to calendar 1310, voted in the negative, Senator Bridgeport. Ayes 57, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1314, Assembly number 7155 by Assembly Member Fefer Amato, enactment of the Civil Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this action take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1315, Assembly number 7157 by Assembly Member Fefer Amato, enactment of the Civil Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this action take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1316, Assembly number 6480 by Assembly Member Burdick, enactment of the Civil Service Law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this action take effect on the 1st of January.
Call the roll.
Adabo Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1317, Senate Print 252 by Senator Serrano, enactment of the Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this action take effect on the 1st of January.
Call the roll.
Adabo Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White. Got it.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1317, voted in the negative are Senators Helming and Walzek. Ayes 56, nays 2.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1322, Senate Print 5714A by Senator Clear, enactment of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law.
Read the last section.
Section 5, this action take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Claire to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. Some of the most important groups within our communities are arts and cultural organizations. They teach children how to dance, sing, paint. They give lessons on history, culture, and the environment. They serve as communal gathering places for meetings, advocacy, and celebrations. In short, they enrich us. However, not everyone is the Met sitting on $5 billion in assets. The small, diverse, community-centric arts organizations are the ones who need our support the most. Yet historically, they are the ones that have the most difficulty garnering federal, state, and local support. Large museums have lots of space and large audiences, but not always committed to supporting and displaying works that focus on diversity, equity, and telling history from different points of view. Therefore, this bill does several things. It amends the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law to incorporate even broader concern for culture, access, diversity, equity, inclusion, and social and racial justice by reforming the composition of the NYSCA, New York State Council on the Arts, by requiring consideration of diversity, equity, considerations, and cultural preservation and development. Updating contracting parameters by requiring consideration on the, of diversity and equitable access to contracting opportunities, and requiring NYSCA to evaluate potential grantees on the basis of how they use arts or culture to address racial and social justice. This bill is sorely needed to make certain that our arts and cultural organizations tell the whole story of our people, our communities, and our history. In doing so, we will shape a better future for all. I vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Claire to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator May to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President, and I want to thank my colleague, Senator Clear, for this bill. This is so important that we diversify the arts and support for the arts across the state. A few weeks ago, I had the pleasure to attend Sneaker Day, not here in the Senate, but at the Everson Museum in Syracuse, where I saw the most diverse group of young people decorating sneakers, designing their own sneakers, and they had vendors there who I'm sure had never been inside the Everson Museum. It was part of a project to diversify not just the exhibits and the artists that they feature, but the board as well of the Everson. And we're seeing this at arts organizations all around the world, I think, but we need to support it, and we need to support the smaller organizations as well that are often the places where kids of color, families of color feel more comfortable, and that really engage and support forms of art that aren't typically supported with these kinds of funds. So I'm excited to see what this program will do and what kinds of new experiences I will get exposed to by being able to take advantage of some of the new opportunities that I think this bill and our support, broadened and more diversified support for the arts, will allow. I vote aye.
Senator May to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1322, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Councilman Fitzpatrick, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Rhodes, and Walzig. Ayes 51, nays 7.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1324, Assembly number 5948 by Assemblymember Shimsky, an act to amend the navigation law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect January 1st, 2024.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White. Walzig.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1324, voted in the negative are Senators Helming and Walzig. Ayes 56, nays 2.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1328, Assembly number 5821A by Assemblymember Levine, enactment of the Public Health Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day of shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 1328, voted in the negative are Senators Brooke and Martinez. Ayes 56, nays 2.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1348, Assembly number 3164 by Assemblymember Magdarelli, an act to amend Chapter 62 of the laws of 2003.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 1353, Assembly number 2935 by Assemblymember Werner, an act to amend the Agriculture and Markets Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 1314, Assembly number 7430 by Assemblymember People Stokes, an act to amend the Cannabis Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
The bill is passed. Oops. Announce the results. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar number 1419, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Councilman Fitzpatrick, Lanza, Martinez, Matera, Rhodes, and Weber. Also Senator Tedisco. Ayes 51, nays 7.
The bill is passed. Senator Serrano, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Thank you, Madam President. Let's please go to the reading of the controversial calendar.
Secretary will ring the bell. The Secretary will read.
Calendar number 1265, Senate Print 327 by Senator Rivera, an act in relation to the definition of safety net providers.
Senator Lanza, why do you rise?
Madam President, I believe there's an amendment at the desk. I waive the reading of that amendment and ask that you recognize Senator Weber.
Thank you, Senator Lanza. Upon review of the amendment, in accordance with Rule 6, Section 4B, I rule it non-germane and out of order at this time.
Accordingly, Madam President, I appeal the ruling of the chair and ask that Senator Weber be heard on the appeal.
The appeal has been made and recognized, and Senator Weber may be heard.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to appeal the ruling of the chair. The proposed amendment is germane to the bill at hand because both the amendment and bill deal with Medicaid funding. The bill before us would expand the definition for the budgeting funding for safety net hospitals. While this is welcome, it is nowhere near close to stemming the rise in inflation that has increased the cost for hospitals, healthcare costs for New Yorkers, and overall costs to our county governments. This amendment would repeal the FMAP intercept that would administratively take pass-through federal funding meant for county governments and divert it to the general fund to offset other Medicare spending. The enacted budget eliminates Medicare Enhancement Federal Medical Assistance Program, the FMAP fund payments intended to go to the county governments. Each county would realize a loss in state funding due to this proposal. What does this mean? Well, Rockland County will lose $8.7 million. Suffolk County, $31.9 million. Nassau County, $29.9 million. Westchester, $27.7 million. Erie County, $26.6 million. Monroe, $23 million. Onondaga, $13.2. Orange County, $9.1 million. Putnam, $1.2. Dutchess, $5.4. Sullivan, $2.6. It goes on and on. These losses are staggering. Some analysis that I've seen say that county governments will be forced to raise taxes between 7 and 14%. They've already passed their budget. Governor just basically took the money away from them. If you think that someone like myself is going to go back to Rockland and tell our county executive and our county legislator, hey, great job passing the budget. By the way, we're taking this money away from you, not only this year, but in future years, so you can have to raise taxes by 7 to 14%. That's crazy. I'm not doing that. I don't think a lot of people in this chamber are going to be comfortable having to go back to their counties, governments, and tell them that. As part of this federal Affordable Care Act, New York receives funds annually from the federal government to fund Medicaid expansion. Federal law requires the state to share 20% of these funds with county governments, known as FMAP reconciliation. The state would stop making those required payments administratively. Congress intended these funds to be shared with counties and New York City. Under Governor Hochul's fiscal year 2024 enacted budget, the governor absorbs up to $1 billion in FMAP funds over a period of 3 years into the state general fund, cutting county-administered Medicaid services. I ask this body to pass this amendment to reverse this bad policy that the governor did administratively. If you don't pass this amendment, I encourage you to sign on to S6716, which is my bill to require FMAP funds be directly shared with counties in New York City. That's open for co-sponsorship. But in the interim, please pass this amendment so that we can prevent future tax increases on our counties. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. I want to remind the House that the vote is on the procedures of the House and the ruling of the chair. Those in favor of overruling the chair signify by saying aye.
Request a show of hands.
A show of hands has been requested and so ordered. Announce the results.
Ayes 18.
The ruling of the chair stands and the bill in chief is before the House. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. Upon consent, please restore calendar 1265 to the non-controversial calendar.
The bill is restored to the non-controversial calendar. Read the last section.
Section 2, this act take effect on the same date and in the same manner as Chapter 53 of the laws of 2022.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 58.
The bill is passed. Senator Serrano, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Can we return to motions? Amendments are offered to the following third reading calendar bills by Senator May, calendar 608, by Senator Gonzalez, calendar 1207, by Senator Hoylman Siegel, calendar 871, and by Senator Gennardez, calendar 1312. I now move that these bills retain their place on order of third reading.
The bills will retain their place on the third reading calendar. Senator Serrano.
Thank you. Is there any further business at the desk?
There is no further business at the desk.
I move to adjourn until Thursday, June 1st at 11 a.m.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Thursday, June 1st at 11 a.m.